All right. We should be live now. Let me check. Let me check Twitch and see what's going on. But yeah, we should be live. Just came out of multiple days with no BDC Retro has confirmed we are live. Cool. Just had a couple days with no internet here in lovely Bremen, Germany. Germany, the home of high technology. So it's nice to have internet. We'll see if that winds up staying the case. So we will see. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching it on just VOD here in Twitch, usual disclaimers. Feel free to skip ahead. I've received feedback in the past that sometimes I take too long to get warmed up. People don't want to hear they don't want to hear audio checks and shit. Well, you kind of get what you get here. So if you're watching this on VOD, feel free to skim ahead. Also, please subscribe, like, keep commenting. You guys have been fantastic on commenting. Get a lot of really rad comments. Yeah, Ishwatari. I was working on, if you look at the bottom here, I was working on getting the rolling chat banner on the bottom. Hey, Nick. Month 23. It's good to see you, dude. I was meaning to hit you up and see if you're around for our huddle earlier. But then I got pulled away to make dinner. I was like, I don't want to start a huddle if I'm gonna. Hey, Scorn. Holy shit. 23 months as well. But yeah, Nick, so I was like, all right, well, I don't want to start chatting and then have to get away to make dinner. And then I was like, wait, do huddles work with my earbuds? I forget. It's one of the apps that doesn't work with my earbuds. Anyway, if you're around tomorrow, it'd be cool to catch up, talk design stuff. Cool, man. Let's see. Nick, did you summon Scorn? Cool. Scorn brought coffee. Nice.
Oh.
Oh. Ishwatari has kicked off the hype train. 16 months. You'll have a limited time to earn exclusive emotes. Cool. Alright, so 16 months already. Jesus, yeah. Alright, so this is very much raw blockout. What I did was earlier today, tried to get glass flats to a point where I could just say it's blocked out enough for now until we get in and discuss it in more detail and start talking about playtest and population, all that stuff. So I'm gonna leave it as is instead of noodling. Everything's very much placeholder. So those of you that may be new here, though, I think based on the resubscriptions, it's a lot of people that have been around for a while. A lot of this stuff is just completely blocked in. Hey, Pattis. Hey, Cathadian. Zukin, thank you for the help. I got the chat going at the bottom here. I made the font nice and big for those of us that are getting older. So yeah, put in placeholder stuff, tried to clean up the mesh as much as possible. There's a bunch of other stuff that we'll do later when we get in, but I'll be honest, we haven't even really had a chance to, from a gameplay standpoint, spend time like talking about the concepts and points of interest and area and all of that. So we'll invest some more time in that. We'll invest more time in that later, at which point then we can do a more thorough job of blocking in. But this is mainly meant to just give us the big strokes. And so you've seen most of this last week, I think. Got the crashed citadel over here. Got this interesting tree surrounded by a crystalline forest, sort of in this area. Again, all placeholder. Ishiwatari, thank you for your generosity and kindness. 5 gift subs to Bit O'Brien. I am Mortal 2, Omni, James 54, and Swanee 85. And it's cool to see that all of those things actually triggered, the events triggered, and I didn't break Streamlabs earlier. I'm always worried about that. So, and then I put these giant red sand dunes in the background. They're part of a zone that's bordering to the north and kind of blocking us in. What level range do you envision this zone being? I would say, as we're getting into here, Nick, this is one of those things I wanted to talk to you about, actually, is level distribution. I'm assuming it's high, middle. So between, or whatever we wind up placing middle at and high with some much higher points of interest. So I don't know if you've seen in Confluence, thank you, Ralph, for the bits. The description here, and we can talk a little bit about that offline. But I would assume this is based on what Ham's kind of mentioned for here, max level. We've got a keep here, which we can bump in level as well. Then the bandits and the cultists over in here, we can keep more mid-tier. Do you expect people to fly by mid-level? No. Art Vanderlei asked, is this a full-time job project for y'all or a spare time project? I'd say the bulk of the team, this is a passion project, spare time project. I tend to have a little bit more time on my hands than others because other folks also have full-time jobs. But I still wind up eating up a fair bit of my day with things around the house and stuff. So I'd say the bulk of the development that has occurred over the last 16, 18 months. I forget where we're at now. Anyway, the bulk of that has just been people chipping in as they can, with I'd say half the team coming in within the last, what, like 8 months? I don't know. Zukin, how long have you been on the team? All right, so this is Pat has said he'll be doing more full-time-ish hours in the next few weeks, as long as his summer break from work runs. The students are out for the summer, so he's got more time. Zukin said 8 months. Cool. Fair guess. So anyway, this is there's the city zone. There's a zone that extends from that. Sungreet Strand. And then that leads into this zone, which is kind of the cap to the northeast of the point of interest, or sorry, the proof of concept zones. And then we head west from Glass Flats into Dragon's Run, and that's what I just started on today. So we'll go back there now. My biggest concern with zones like this will be when we get in here, looking at, because there's so much empty space, there's so much negative space. We've got points of interest that we'll be building in, like bandit camps along these hills that overlook a road that comes through here. And then we've got cultists that live up here in the hills that they're very well hidden, apparently. There they are. I went ahead and I just blatantly copy pasted an underground area that Pattis had made for the city. Will cities be more functional like WoW cities or more empty filler like EQ cities? Art asked. The goal is for the cities to feel more like a mix of persistent functionality that maintains its value through the life of the character, along with some encounter spaces. So a bigger focus on having actual encounters in the cities as well. Belfaster, thank you for 7 months. Aurora Bros, thank you for 2. So yeah, basically I just cut a hole here and whoops. My buzzword game is on point 8. What buzzwords did I use, Ryan? Smartass. Anyways, I just took Pattis's underground area that he had built in Night Harbor and plopped it in here. I think I plugged all there are a couple holes because I didn't do a very good copy paste job. But just pasted it in here so that we've got a little area for the cultists, and then it's a reminder more than anything. We can redesign it later, but wanted to make sure that we had an area in here. Design looking fantastic. Love the handcrafted look. Dreg, this area, if you hadn't seen it before, there's a whole other area on top of this in Night Harbor that Pattis did that's really cool. What'd Bilbo say? Shroud of Avatar did a great job dealing with empty space by making the POI the only zones. The space between is the overworld. Of course, that's entirely different world design. Yeah, it's an interesting approach that they took. Can I roll you a die 20? No. All right, so this man just called it a die 20. Okay. I wonder what's going on here. That just looks all kinds of messed up. How much more are you looking to accomplish with this particular blockout? I'm just wondering if you're at the point where there's value in keeping updated nav mesh for some test population. At this point, we could do a nav mesh, Nick. What are these? Some of the stuff that appears when I'm working on Geo is terrifying. I'm not going to be modifying this drastically or much more. Alright, so Pattis, I don't know how I break some of the stuff that I break. I'm just going to assume that it's that it's Pro Builder's fault. I mean, what in the... Actually, this was probably when I was connecting points or some shit. Oh, what a mess. Pro Builder does have its challenges, especially when I'm using it. Okay, feel free to build and push when you think it's ready. I'll start roughing out the population. Cool. Hey, Nick, we should sit and just go through the whole, like, all of the maps. If you've got time tomorrow or the next day. Before you start doing the pop. And I think we can kill a couple birds with one stone. We can talk about level distribution. And then we can just talk about NPCs, because the descriptions in Confluence are pretty loose. There's some ideas in there, but they're pretty loose. So it'd be fun to just sit down and like chat through them, and then we can update Confluence, and then and I'll have everything checked in by then, if that sounds good. And then some of this stuff, cool. Honestly. What are these guys attached to? This point right here? Populating these zones, return to the capsules. Capsules drive. There may be some capsules used for NPCs that we don't have any sort of model that resembles yet. Can't wait to until we have Robert's new track on the playlist. So good. Yes. Is the track available anywhere yet? Keith asked. No. The new track that he's working on is unheard outside of the team so far. But it is pretty fantastic. I honestly don't know the best way to clean up something like this, Pattis. So I know what I'll do. I'll do it in the hacky way that I tend to do everything. How about that? Oh, did you already hook up the new track in the dungeon, Nick? Ah, cool. Very cool. Is Monsters and Memories the launch name? It is, Art. What's the preferred way to abbreviate it? M, lowercase n, uppercase M. Pattis watches in horror as he realizes that one day he's going to have to come into the zone and clean it all up. Actually, Pattis is probably hoping that we, like, you mean we won't have a additional environment artist by then that I can pawn this off on? Who was it that was just... Somebody was just busting my balls on Discord. About how bad I am in Pro Builder. Who is that? I forget. They tried to make up for it by paying me a compliment on a different topic, but... Made me sad. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Alright, so let's just hit save. And then let's go to the next zone. First roll a die 20. Okay, hold on one second. I've got the website for you. Sorry, D20. It's this thing, right? Six. Vandrock, thank you for the prime. And welcome. Is this run through each zone day, i.e. character will run and zone on each zone line? Snickerdoodle. Unfortunately, no, not today. Hopefully soon. This is a brand new zone, so I've got to get up on a server, and honestly, it's in no shape for that yet, so. Scorn, thank you for your generosity. 6 community gift subs. Morphinate, Seek and Destroy, Weapons, Dram, MCP Live, and Dreg. You are all lucky winners. That's very nice of you, dude. So this zone basically runs between the glass flats in the east, and then we'll connect over to what used to be called Death Valley and is now called the Vale of Zentar, which Vale of Zentar needs to basically get rebuilt as well. So, and I might as well dupe this. get this ready. Hopefully it's bigger than what we need. And then there'll be some cubbies in here as well for some of the other areas. Vale of Zentar is a city with coin slot fortune tellers. Correct. All right. So let's look at the map. Kind of trying to find ways to make this zone make it feel not quite as big as the last one. We'll block it in a little bit. I feel like somebody just asked me a question and I missed it. So if you asked a question a minute ago and I haven't said anything, I'm not ignoring you. I missed it and I don't want to scroll up. So hit me up again. Hey, Drew. Those of you that are absolutely 100% new here, what we're doing is essentially it's like gray boxing only without all the gray. So it's a rough blockout. So we've got a gameplay space to start with. It allows us to play around with some of the aesthetic and thematic elements, but for the most part, it's just using very temporary assets, including the mesh. And then we can show you kind of an analog to what we're doing here in a minute. But the goal is to, before the end of the month, get all of the proof of concept zones blocked in so that we can basically run from the city all the way around through all of the zones, back around, and back into the city. And so that will include a number of zones. I'll list them off in a minute after I answer these questions before I forget them again. Nicodemus, yeah, I can tell you a little bit about the zone in a second. Did I answer Snickadoodle? Is this a run through each zone day, i.e. character will run and zone on each zone line? Scorn, I did, and the answer for that one is not yet. I can run through some of the zones for folks that haven't been around in a while. I'll do that in a minute. I can run through some of the zones, and then we've got this zone that needs to basically finish. Well, it doesn't need to finish getting implemented. It needs to get added to our zone list and added to the server. And then I'll finish blocking it out. And then we've got this zone over here to the west of it that needs to be redone. And that's one of the original zones that we did last year. Death Valley, which is now Vale of Zentar. And then I've got one more zone that I did a very rough sort of block out of, which is the hills in the middle here. And so I'd done one version of it before, but I think I'm just gonna restart that. So yeah, Let's see. Does Robert have Unity experience, or will one of you guys be handling integrating audio and sound effects? I can't remember if he said he's got Unity experience. For some reason, I thought yes, he's going to be doing some integration, and then we're going to be doing other integration. Like Nick's been doing sound integration. I've added some sounds for like UI and stuff a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or whatever. Time flies. So let me hit save real quick. Then we'll load somebody up and we'll run around. Underneath the desert are there ruins of an ancient fire elven race. Not of an ancient fire elven race. Background on that zone. So it's called Dragon's Run. And it was the scene of a very large battle. The current areas, I tell you what, we'll talk through them as I'm starting to place placeholders in. But essentially it's a border zone that takes you into the Whispering Dunes to the north, which are, for the proof of concept, probably going to be impassable. And the Dragons Run's the home of large ruins of the same theme as the new dungeon that's been put in. So essentially it's the ruins of the Wormsbane Keep. And then there'll be some other, like, there are a couple of oases with Ashira clans there, a crazy silt river that flows through that's essentially like flowing quicksand. So it'll be a fun one to get in. Hey Carthage, thanks for popping in. Snickerdoodle said I went back and watched the planning stream you had for Night Harbor and it got me thinking. One of the things in EQ cities that was without new EQ stuff, it was always tricky to find your way around, and that was almost a sense of accomplishment when you knew a city like the back of your hand, to the point where you needed to ask for help. If you were in an unfamiliar city, I feel like Night Harbor is more open, like Furiona from Kunark, where it wouldn't be hard to get lost. Is that the plan? I think there'll be it'll be easy to navigate certain areas, and then there'll be areas off the main path where you can definitely get lost. And there are a lot of districts in there, so you're only seeing the top level in a very, very simple block out at the moment. So I've got super speed medallion on. Let me take that off. This was the zone that we're just in. Zoidberg said, it's been a while since I've joined in on stream, but it sounds like y'all have really developed your lore. We've got a bunch in the background. Again, the trick with lore has been, well, we're still getting a lot of what we need in to build. We've got a ton of history and sort of foundational lore, but we're getting a lot of the info that we need to just, oh, nice theme, work off of in now. And then over time, we'll get a better feel of what we want to expose out of game versus what we just want you guys to discover in game. For the most part, we'd rather you play the game and discover the lore in a natural manner than, you know, basically fill our website full of lore. What are my thoughts on how you may have some limitations with your factions, religions, with all races starting in Night Harbor for the pilot? I know you said Night Harbor is more welcoming. Will it stay that way into release or just for POC? It's kind of hard to speak to that because we don't know how that's going to shape up, right? I would say my gut tells me that it's amazing that we finally have something that's clipping. Clip plane. As we have more of the cities online, I wouldn't be shocked if Night Harbor gets revamped. So if we've got all of the various racial cities, if we could, just wave a magic wand and have all of the various cities online overnight, then we'd probably revamp the way that Night Harbor functions to some degree. Just to reinforce the value of those starting cities so it doesn't just become like the easy place for everybody to want to start, right? That said, we don't have that magic wand, so we'll kind of see how things roll out. Scorn's going to launch a fan site of completely made up lore. That worked. If any of it's really cool, then we may steal it. Alright, so I'm curious if the zone line going the opposite direction worked. Maybe it worked. We'll see. So we'll try to run to the south and see if the zone line works. I won't be shocked if it doesn't. Will we get basic lore on the races and stuff though? Just so we can make informed choices? Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Gorn's going to name all the deities after black holes. I didn't realize, I always assumed black holes had names like QR3405 BD1 or whatever. Didn't realize they had cool names. Let's see. Hold on one sec. Yeah, so Droop will definitely drop enough lore for you to be able to make choices like that. So the goal will be to eventually get the racial descriptions and lore posted in a nice way. We want to make it look like I'm going to say we if the team disagrees with me. So far, I thought the response was a positive, but the goal is to make it look kind of like a old school source book, but get the races, classes, info posted, just sort of a nice overview. We'll probably get some gods, but there are a lot of gods, so you'll probably only get a little bit of sampler. We'll get a bit of information about Night Harbor and the continent and world. We'll get some information up about the rest of the proof of concept zones. So so this, and again, keep in mind this is just a block out with placeholder assets. So there'll be more going on once we get in here and start fleshing it out a bit. Black holes are mostly just named variations of Steve. That makes sense to me, Ryan. Romeo and Juliet type story between a young gnome male and ogre female. It's possible. Droop. Vandrock asked, do you write a story then the game, or the story develops while you build the game? For us, we've been... I think we just started the first year as just a shitload of ideas, and an initial map, initial timeline, initial backgrounds for the various races, probably inconsistently so, but a fair bit of it. And then when Hamad came back, was able to fully re-engage with the team, we started sorting through all of that over the last probably 5-6 months, redoing the timelines, cleaning things up, redoing the gods, trying to get everything internally consistent. Still a little bit of work there to do because we're wanting to keep a lot of the ideas and work that we did before, and so it's been a little bit of like working things together. So taking old ideas, taking Hamad's new stuff and putting it together. In terms of story, I mean, for the most part, the work that we've been doing has been foundational to understanding the world, less about setting up specific storylines. So creating the right history to allow us to fully understand the races, to allow us to understand the important factions within the races, to allow us to figure out like who the sort of key players are, and then from there, I would say probably in a couple months, we'll probably be in a position where we're really just taking a lot of those foundational pieces that we've established and then doing discrete stories, so discrete quests, and making additional characters that we need to support you know, the content that we're doing. So yeah, but it's been nice. Working with Hamad has been really good because he comes to us from like a tabletop RPG pen and paper background, and he's got a ton of experience there and a ton of world building experience there. So his structure has been really interesting to learn from. The cool thing is we had a lot of really fun ideas and stories and you know, basically for our history to get things rolling when he came back on the team. So there's some pretty dense and functional lore. Is there a master monster list for art assets yet for proof of concept build, or is it still in flux? We've got more art than you've like listed than you've seen. There's probably a small handful of additional NPCs that we'll play around with and maybe add, but I would say we've already got more than our work cut out for us. So you'll be seeing some capsules. Zukin dropped a hint that there is something cool planned which is related to the unlocking character animations via quests. Are you able to elaborate on that? I saw when he said that. I am not. I don't know if we've mentioned anything on this front, but I think he might have been alluding to. I don't think I'm revealing anything ultra new info wise, but I think he was alluding to maybe a means of unlocking race class combinations. Yeah, so that's what he meant. Yeah, we've kicked around some ideas on how to basically approach unlocking race class combinations. And we've said it enough times over the last, you know, year and change that I think that will be the approach. So Enceladus said, hello, found your channel from a pro boxer guy who works on the animation models for your MMO. Wait, Goblin or Zukin? Which one of you are secret pro boxers that I didn't know about? And still does. Thank you for the kind words. They've got some animated humanoid races. I'm surprised you already have a couple bandit camps. They're probably coming very soon, Belfaster. Right after Nick and I chat this week, you'll probably be seeing a lot of that pop up. I wonder where this zone line goes. Man, I got some seams. I wonder if this zone line's hooked up to the right place. Probably not. Fly. Zone. All right. I didn't really come in the right spot, but hey. Oh, we can run around these crazy walls and parapets that Pat has put in. Ran around there earlier today. Early this morning, and man. Oh, this is nice. It's not too high. Yes, we did fix that issue so things could get checked in. Group said that's great. I love the focus the team has on lore, especially early on. Hoping lore has a lot more of a place than it did say at EQ. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't want this to sound like it's in any way like comparative to EQ or putting it down or whatever. But I will say for what we're trying to achieve is establishing a world history that gives us plenty to pull on. So that doesn't tell you anything. So one of the goals with the game is to create it in a way where even before you would want to leave the continent, there's so much stuff to rediscover and so many dungeons that are kind of buried under, you know, either in plain sight, like we ran past one that you won't be able to access for a while when we were in Sungreet Strand a minute ago, though you didn't see it was hidden off to the side. But, you know, the dungeons that are under Night Harbor, for example, of which there are multiple, like having a historic justification that goes all the way back to sort of the origin of the races, the original sort of wars that caused certain disruptions and cataclysmic events that, you know, were the reason for different either races or civilizations to be displaced. We really wanted to have a history that was, you know, that's internally consistent, that starts at the very beginning and has a consistent set of through lines, and the relationships are always sort of considered between the races and the origin of different races, and, you know, the great wars and all that stuff. So yeah, so a lot of that, a lot of thought going into it. It takes a while though, like Ryan said, it takes a while. Especially the other thing is, none of us are doing this like full time. So, Nicodemus, thank you for your generosity. 5 more gift subs tonight. You guys are great. Congrats to GT, James ATL, Squishy Mustard, Scrambles the Death Dealer, Yadob, Rev Chumley. What music is this? It is our original soundtrack. We're adding to it constantly. So this is Robert's playlist that we've linked. Here you go. If you go to our website, you can find it there as well. Hold on one sec. If you go to our website, not our website, our YouTube. Why did I say website? There you go. Now you've got both. No, we don't have a cat room yet. We'll probably do various pet rooms for people's different pets. We'll have a little, I'll have image of both Ziggy and Rune, so that Ziggy will be forever memorialized. All right, so let's run through here. Pat has said he's basically working from these outer walls in and getting it set up so that we can start to transfer over the content from the Shaded Dunes version of Night Harbor into this. I've been keeping the Shaded Dunes one is... Oh. Well, I don't think I can fit through without the shrink spell. What was I... Oh, I was on the gnome earlier. I may have to hop back on the gnome. Nicodemus, I really do appreciate it. Oh. Discriminations. Hey, Nick. I see a skeleton running around. Is that your pet? Cool. No crouch yet. Is it planned? Yeah, we'll have a crouch. I may have to come back in the gnome. All right, let me log out really quick. So Nick and Gary were playing with shrink spells. Saw an image of that. Is Nick playing a Shadow Knight? I'd have to assume so. Really? Ogre Necromancer? Did not see that coming. Did I pull latest for the gnome stuff? I pulled... Here, let me pull again really fast. I pulled pretty recently. I mean, I've pulled today. Yeah. I'll fetch. Yep, I got it. Yeah, so I've got that. I ran around in the gnome earlier today. That's when I was looking at the parapets and stuff. The gnome, he feels very fast animation-wise, but he's still pretty cool. So I don't know if I mentioned it. Yeah, see, I'm in here. I stole the idea from Zukin's stream of that, the chat at the bottom, because I realized when I was looking at the videos to get them pushed to YouTube, the VODs, that you really can't see the chat worth a shit in my previous VOD. So apologies for that. Hopefully it's easier to read this time around. I think it moves by pretty quick, but what are you gonna do? His arm. What's going on with the UVs? I was like, how do I have an armband? I think I've got fingers on my arm. Yeah, no, it's nice to have them just started, Zukin. If anybody has any questions or concerns, I'll remind them that they are not final by any means. With the stiff arms and that face, he is very intense. Oh my god. That's a spry jump. Yeah, he is he's got a very powerful jump. Sit down, I'll pull you through. Oh, he popped through. Just had to grab him by the foot. Yeah, so when you guys were talking about how open the city is, keep in mind that we haven't done any of the filler structures or anything of that nature, right? Like, so as we get all of the various functional structures in, then we'll start to fill out remaining space with small houses and shops and things of that nature. And we'll be doing that all the way through. So it'll feel a bit more like a sprawl after when you're off the beaten path. And as you look, guys, keep in mind, these were just put in as placeholders. Our streets will not be perfectly square, etc. So, yeah, and then we'll have little courtyard walls and half walls and other stuff to break things up. So, all right. So there's a lot in here. I think I can't move fast enough with fly, because move rate modification doesn't seem to work with fly. So let me get back on the ground, check my inventory. Oh, was I actually playing this guy at one point? Let's see. While I'm doing this, look at Nomio's giant sword. Let's see. Don't know why this is making me laugh. It's just a gnome silently T-posing through the sky. Well, I was going to turn into a bat for you, but then it felt a little too gimmicky. So then we've got this harbor area that we'll be building out. And then this will transition into Riverbend, which will be more of an encounter space. Sketchier part of town. Oh, it looks like it's modifying fly. And then this area it'll be a sprawl. So this will be the bulk of Riverbend up here. We'll see if it's big enough once we actually get once we get all the structures and stuff in. And then there are the various interior districts. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on Night Harbor. World's first semi-nude parkour MMO? I don't know if that's true. I think somebody's already beaten us to the punch on that one. Pretty sure. So for those of you that haven't seen the game at all, prior to today, and Voln, aggro off, that form. And fly. So this is where we started back in the day, and we're basically rebuilding the city to use the final art style and final layout and all that stuff. And over time we'll be collapsing, we'll be removing this, and we'll be doing some redesign of this zone a little bit, and then it will be the zone that you zone once you get past the newbie yard in Night Harbor. You'll zone into this area. And we've got a couple more zones, but I think that should, well, here's one of the few remaining capsule people. Yeah, he's going for it. Very aggressive. While we're waiting on the Ashira model, he'll stay a capsule. That corpse. And so we've just, over the last year, once Zukin was on the team, started replacing all of our capsules with critters, and now we're going to be working on getting all of them animated, similar to the bat. And zone. So overworld looks fantastic. Thank you. And we have an underworld. So this was our sort of sample test case, quickly put together underworld zone. So moving around like that, I gotta assume it's Nick. Yep. And then the zone that I need to basically just completely redo is and that'll be next after the zone that I'm in, or was in earlier today when you guys first came in. Some of you. Which may fix that issue. In redoing the zone, hopefully it'll fix that issue. So you can see Nick out there for scale. But we've got a nice new map for this zone. So it'll be fun to actually redo it. And then you can see the flying citadel, one of the ones that hasn't or haven't crashed up there in the distance. You can see the crashed one in Glass Flats. So yeah, I think, let me zone Glass Flats, and then I will hey, sunset. You live in Germany? I do speak a little German. Bist du Deutsch oder wohnst du nur hier? Oh, live in Germany. I read I live in Germany. Do you speak German? No. Yeah, I'm American. I am from America. Let's see. Let's go back to Dragon's Run. Start playing with some stuff. People watching the VODs are always like, half my VODs are me just running around showing you guys the latest stuff. So probably actually get in here and do some more. So there's an easier way to do that. All right, I'll bring up the map again on the other screen. So there are a couple oases, but we've also got to figure out roughly how big we want the zone to be. What's the first one coming in here? What is this area? Gangren's Den. Let me look that up really quick. Oh, Goblin Enclave. Alright. So, that's right. That's right over there. Okay, so that's more in the middle of the zone. What's up, Justin? So Ham has a road going above here, and then we've already got the river, so I might as well block out the river. I'm sure there's an easier way to paint on this, but So we'll have to very curious to see how much of this zone winds up being how much of the space is actually needed. So trying to start roughing out oh, nope, riverbed. Kinster said, or asked, how do you guys gauge how large a zone should be, and what other considerations do total travel time to a destination play? Does whatever method you guys are using for M&M differ from the method you guys use in EQ? So in my experience, and I don't know if Ryan's still around to chime in. I'm not sure how they did it after my time, but my experience in EQ, we had a rough feel. It was typically it was a relative feel, like we knew how long it took. So we knew what max movement speed was, right? And we knew how long other zones took to traverse. And there's a difference between like overland zones where you've got a fair amount of opportunity to avoid conflict versus traversal time through a dungeon or traversal time through something that's overland but densely populated with encounters. And so it was a bit of a kind of a Kentucky windage type thing where we could look at other zones and then we could look at how much time we expected a player to be in combat during traversal. So like fighting through a dungeon is a very different amount of time to move the same amount of space in theory as you would be overland, right? And then back in the day before smartphones, I'd just use a stopwatch and use that to get a rough feel. And then part of it's what effect are you going for? So with us, one of the things that I'm thinking will work, but we may find that it actually it doesn't work, or it's not a good idea, or we need to take a different approach, is trying to produce a certain effect as well. So creating a certain sense of scale without it being directly applied to gameplay, while also then looking at the amount of time. In EQ units, were units in EQ kind of like 1 square equals 1 meter for scale? I don't remember. I don't remember being that precise. I don't remember if it was actually 1 meter or if it was just considered a unit. Right, but with Loke, we had a rough feel, and so we could go, okay, this is 3,000 across or 5,000 across, which I think was, well, actually, wasn't it double that, because you could have them that were like negative 2,000 one direction, 3,000 other direction. I know if you look at just traveling from, so one of the ones that I pointed out recently was like traveling from Guk to, or from Freeport to Guk actually takes way less time than you would expect. Something like 10 minutes or something like that. I'd have to look at the numbers again, but so without with Sal it's 9 minutes. Without it's like 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Did you guys ever build too large and have to cut back on geometry and EQ for performance? When I came back onto the project for Omens of War, the zones were incredibly large, like passive aggressively large. And the zones basically just got completely redone. And then when the zones were redone for Omens, I think they were fine. But yeah, a lot of what I'm doing here is it's not scientific. It's just kind of like doodling, and then we'll get a look and see if it feels right to us. You know, I've done timed runs from Night Harbor up through Glass Flat, and I'd have to look at those times again, but I could have sworn, let me look at my notes. So Night Harbor all the way through the Strand takes about 4 minutes, roughly 4 minutes with move rate enhancement, and 5.5 minutes without move rate enhancement. So for perspective, I would have to look and see. As a reference. So basically running all the way across South Row only takes 2.5 minutes. Or sorry, Oasis takes 2.5 minutes. So these are a bit bigger. If we modify our move rate at any point, that'll also have an impact. So making things a bit bigger straight out of the gate on this one, so that we can try out a few things. And again, this is all block out placeholder. I do have a tendency when I'm in here just to maybe overinvest a little bit in noodling on stuff, but it's just so I can kind of get a look and see what the feel is. And then we're going to wind up redoing a fair bit of this. So if we find that the scale's not right or whatever, then we can address that later. I think running all the way around the corner of the glass flats from like zone in all the way to this zone line here is about, I think it's about 8-9 minutes. So they're pretty beefy zones. They don't seem it because we've got such a like the clip plane is pushed out so far. I'm trying to figure out if old Poos is asking a legit question or just really likes to hear his name on stream. Which one is it, Poos? Poos. Povotenso said hello. What is the biggest challenge when developing in Unity? What has been the biggest challenge? I got the feeling some other folks on the team would have more to say on that topic. For me, I enjoy working in it. Biggest challenge, I don't know. It's probably going to be us working together on certain aspects of a zone at the same time. So far, we really haven't run into it, but and then on the design side, everything's in a database, so we can all work on design stuff in the same zone without any real conflict. All right. So Boost asked, what's up with the yellow line? Basically just doing a quick block out of what's meant to be a river. Not a very interesting shape on the river, but I'm looking at a map that I was given for it that has it kind of, he doesn't have any crazy sort of zigzags or anything like that in it. So we'll keep it like this for now. It's going to run all the way through the other zone as well. And it is, the river is a silt flow actually. It's a river of kind of like quicksand silt. So you're not going to want to get in it. And in theory, the description for the zone was that it's supposed to be kind of badlands. Interaction like lava damage, or can we actually stink, or is it still a secret? I think we're going to have to figure it out. But generally speaking, one of the things that I've been asking Ollie about is whether or not we can have things like water turbulence. And basically, can we apply different game effects to water to make water a little more dangerous and interesting, and make it so that while there are places that you can swim and swimming is valid, can we make it so that increasing swimming skill actually unlocks the ability to do, swim in slightly more interesting areas or under certain circumstances? And then 2, we want to make it so that, those little boats that you can hop in, or, having to take a ferry, all those things actually have some value as opposed to just hopping in and swimming wherever you want to go. Silt boats or silt strider critters a possibility? Both are a possibility. Can I sink into an underground murky pool and then swim through an aquifer to a cave under the hills? Theoretically, yes. Keckle keckle, I don't know what that means. But according to the 4 agreements, I should both not take anything personally and also have no negative self-talk. And thus, in doing so, I should just take things as a positive. That's real hard for me. Means you're an attractive human with graying hair? Oh. Zaddy? Is it like daddy? Zaddy status? Ah, cool. Okay. Interesting. I haven't heard that one. The last company I worked at one point my coworkers called me Daddy Shawn, and I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel about that. Sabby the Druid, thank you for the follow. Trolled Woods, good evening. Alright, so I am just pulling verts because it's relaxing. How nice of your coworkers to give you permission to treat them like children. Well, my last company was very young. Like the average age there had to be younger than most companies. That was the Swedish online horse adventure game for girls. Was I able to figure out the Pro Builder mesh merge issue I was having earlier? Trooper X66 asked. Yeah, so I forget who discovered this, but a couple people Googled it during that last stream when we were talking about it, and found that it was a it's a like a vert count or something limitation per object. And so then what I've done since then, like today, what I did was I wound up making, so I think when I first came in here, basically this, what I do is I'll hit Y, I'll try to get it lined up pretty well. It was probably smaller. It was probably like this. Was the remainder that I brought over from the other zone, so that I could try to basically get the zone lines to match as much as possible. So this is just should be the zone lines from the other side, and glass flats. And so then I brought them over, I chopped everything else off. Yeah, so then I just sliced this. So I sliced this, and then I think I had like a bigger piece that I just took, flattened out, cut it off. So I cut it off, flattened it, put it over here, connected it, welded all the seams, and then once it got to a certain size, I think when it was like about half of this, basically did that again, joined these, welded all the seams, and then had a nice big flat piece that I turned into these two. And at some point, what I'll probably do, assuming that I didn't do it as part of the earlier process, I forget, but I don't know that I did. Maybe this looks pretty flat. So I think I already took care of this one. So at some point, what I'll probably do is, rather than just try to line them up, honestly, it feels like it's quicker just to come in here and then, a little bit cleaner than that, but come in here and then cut that out into its own object, weld the seams, and then it's fine. We'll just have like 4 meshes or 5 meshes or whatever we wind up with. I'm probably going to want to expand this down a little bit. So we'll probably at some point soon cut this and and bring this down, unless once this is hooked up and we're in and running around with, nah, it's probably going to need to be a little bit wider. I want to make sure, glass flats is pretty big, and it may wind up feeling excessively large and empty. So we'll take a look at that and see. That's really going to become evident when we start doing the population work. And so if you were in earlier when Nick was first asking about that at the beginning of the stream, I was mentioning that we'll come in and look and kind of see, because this is a lot bigger than it looks here, right? So when we go back and start doing population work, if we find that it just feels like we're able to, you know, put a significant number of NPCs in a small area, like if we go to these bandit camps and glass flats. If it just looks completely barren, then we'll have to discuss sort of the different variables that we have to play with to make it look right. One is number of camps that we want to set up. Scale of mobs, but like if we're doing bandits, then, you know, humans human. We're not going to do like a 2x scale human just to try to fill in space. But let me see if we grab, just as an example, let's go back to Night Harbor. One of the things I do like about working, I mean there's many, but one of the things I really like about working in Unity at the moment is being able to do stuff like just grab sections of the scene or grab objects or whatever and copy them and paste them into another zone. I wouldn't have even thought about it, but Pattis or somebody had mentioned, oh, you just do this. And I was like, no shit, really? Great. So like if we come in here and we grab, oops. Oh, it's because I'm not in object mode. So if we just grab like a fair bit of this. Just like this. Alright, so we kind of know what this feels like. So we hit copy. Let's go over to glass flats again. Don't save. I am not touching this scene yet. Yeah, it's interesting because Unity just plops you back in the exact same coordinates you're in. So we'll hop up here. Then we'll come in here. We'll for now, let's go ahead and just make an empty, and we'll call it bandit camps. Put it here. Oops, that did not do what I wanted it to do. Do that. We'll grab that entire thing and we'll pull it over here. Jump down to it. Find them a little bit flatter ground. Now, the difference between a traveler's district in Night Harbor and bandit camps in game are such that I could see we take something like this. come here. Distribute them a little bit. Bandits probably don't have half walls. Well, they do if there's some ruins around, but yeah, they probably don't. Which is easy enough to fix. Music is fantastic. Can you buy it somewhere? Is there a link for it? You can listen to it for free on YouTube. You can find the playlist linked on our YouTube. For those of you that are new here, if you don't know what we're working on, we are making an indie MMO, Monsters and Memories. Check out our website. Check out the FAQ. Be sure to join our Discord. There are a lot of nice folks in the community already. I think we're at like 800 people in the community. Definitely. Yeah, so the music is linked on the soundtrack playlist. We're at 851, really? So you can be 852 or 3 if you're slow. And on our mailing list, we're at like 1,300 people. Be sure to join. The mailing list is very important. Nice, Pattis. So yeah, we've got, if we use this as like reference for 853 now. Good job, folks. If we use this as reference, then we can see, all right, well, it's a pretty big ass bandit camp. We'll also probably want to have some bandits on different tiers, right? So I'm just doing this really quick and easy at the moment. Don't expect it to stay this way. And then if we've got it set up like this, then we'll probably, you know, look at other types of objects to help fill it out. Keep in mind, we don't have any like crates and barrels and stuff like that in here yet. Then the other thing we can do is we can come in, I guess, I don't know. I'm just kind of making shit up here. I'm not the environment art expert. So Pattis, you can chime in. But what we can do then is come in and mess with this topography a bit to make it less boring. Right, because right now it's just a big flat thing that I threw in here. So we can have some elevation changes that are more like features that just kind of break stuff up. And eat up some of that negative space. Trooper said, I'm not sure how this works with multiple objects, but a useful placement tip for single objects is if you can hit Control Shift with something selected. The XYZ gizmo will turn into a white square, and you can drag the white square around and it will move the object around on the ground collision. I use it a lot if I want to move something close to me in Unity and avoids having to type in a position or manually move it. Let me see what you're talking about. Let me try that out. So assume I have these guys selected. You said Control Shift. All right, so Control Shift. If you hold Control plus Shift with something selected, the XYZ gizmo will turn into a white square, and you can drag the white square around, and it will move the object. Is it if I only have one object selected? Ah. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Ah. Oh, that's real nice. Sorry, I was looking up at this gizmo. So let's try it with multiple things selected. Yeah, it does the same thing. Pretty much. It tries. I like that. That's a great tip. Thank you. Thakor, thank you for the follow. So then, that's a nice one for going and cleaning up. So, boom. Whoops. Boom. Yeah, that's going to be nice. You just saved Nick from having to write so many different bugs. Oh, something I feel like something got skewed here. No. For some reason I thought the tints were rounder, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. Speaking of bugs, let me just fix this while I'm here. Maybe. I gotta say, I'm really amped that so many folks have come into chat and had such kind things to say about the music. I hope Robert fully understands and appreciates the degree to which people are enjoying his music so far. So, interesting fact about Robert, the guy that's doing our music and sounds, he is an actual touring musician. He showed us a picture because they just started a tour last weekend, I believe. Maybe the weekend before, but last weekend I could have sworn. My days are melting together at the moment. So this last weekend, or maybe the weekend before, and I've just gone crazy. He showed us a picture from his hotel room while on tour. He had his laptop and he had P99 up. It's pretty awesome. One of his level 60s on P99. Oop. He is a Swedish gentleman that lives in Finland, which makes him doubly nice. Double Scandinavian. Just that is nothing but pleasantness. What's P99? Enceladus? Look up Project 1999. Corbone, hello. Nick, if you're around, or at some point seeing this, I'm honestly, I just started throwing this stuff in here, but I'm just kind of like mindlessly doodling at the moment. So don't we can absolutely change this. I was just wanting to see what it looked like with some stuff in. P99 also sounds like that workout video, that workout exercise program. P99. Oh, interesting. We are not going to save this because I have no idea. Oh, wait. Cool. All right, maybe I will. P99X. P90X. I know that ooh, it'd be great though with some nice bright fires in the distance at night. You see the campfires in the distance. That'd be great. I know that he was in a like a Scandinavian folk metal band. And I know they did a cover of the song Genghis Khan, the old disco song. Let's see. Let this generate. Can't remember if I'm doing it right. I'll have to ask somebody. You're very welcome. Oh no, is this too CPU intensive? Did it cause some frame drops? I'm looking at slobs now. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't even thinking about it. It's all choppy and stuff. Apologies. Cool. Well, hopefully it'll be done in a minute. Yeah, I feel guilty because I'm nowhere near as productive on stream doing this. I don't know what it's like for other folks that are working on something like this and streaming. But it's so easy for me to like have something playing on the other monitor and just kind of zone out and whip this stuff together during the day. So that's why I guess it feels a little bit more like show and tell than actual work sometimes. So apologies for that. What's up, Breck? Hey, Modest. Thanks a ton for the input and assistance. I caught up on the thread. But I didn't say much because it looked like Goblin and Ollie had it all figured out. So appreciate the assist. It was fun because as soon as that came up, it was like, well, those guys have run in. They've done customization of this sort. Ask them. Wonder what's going on here. Man, there's a whole bunch of like wacky faces over here. Oh, I'm terrified. Why would that be that way? It was never extruded. I swear. I promise. I promise I've never extruded that. Why are you like this? I'm gonna just Control Z a couple times, and we're gonna pretend like we didn't see that, and then we'll make this Pattis's problem later. Blight, what's going on? Doing good. Hopefully you're doing the same. Alright, so we got that. Control S. And back to Dragon's Run. Just cover that up with some sand. Yeah, exactly. My main concern is, Harrison was talking about there's a, I guess there's something specific that I can do wrong that will, make it so that the screen turns black whenever you're looking around it. You can see it when we're in Shaded Dune. Not Shaded Dune, sorry, Death Valley. Which needs to get rebuilt. So there's something in here that when we're running around in the actual game causes the screen to flash black. But it's not doing it here. This one's going to be interesting. It's the terrain. So, which is good because all of this terrain needs to be deleted basically. So I've just got to replace it with a new terrain. New mesh. Oh, this is a weird object. Is this because you imported it or? Brex, I don't remember that actually. So when do you implement full action combat with interactive fatalities? That was a joke, but yeah. Take it combat is like Vanguard. Get the term. Tab targeting. Yes, we'll be using tab targeting. Yeah, so what I'm very curious about is where to go into here. I'm a hard guy to make laugh. I was laughing internally. It's just my face. I have resting robot face. If I grab this. Nope, not that one. This. Not that one. How many damn planes are there? Alright. So grab these two planes. I'm laughing internally. Copy. Let's save. Oops. That's not what I meant. He's high on the Illuminati Jedi training. Full control of his emotions. I have zero control over my emotions. I have no control. Despite being a robot, I'm a very emotional person. How come you're in Germany? Job stuff or personal? Originally it was job stuff. The first time I moved back to Germany. I used to live here when I was a little kid. But the first time I moved to Germany for work in 2015, and then I moved to Sweden for work, and then I moved back to Germany because we decided we wanted to work on this game, and my wife is a German citizen. I met her the first time I was in Germany, and then decided that there's the opportunity to focus mainly on making this while she worked at her dental clinic that she works at. She is a dentist. So this will be an interesting zone. I've got a nice map of it that I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to look at it real quick. So maybe it's gonna feel a bit more like this. And then maybe an additional space up here a bit. So okay, that makes sense, because if I were to take these two and then add a bit of the glass flats on here, then it makes rough sense spatially. Aren't you a retired millionaire by now after all these years of MMO success? Half joke. No. I wish. Nope. They pay you. They pay you a salary, and it is not millions. I did laugh. Always wondered if people get a cut of the games they work on. It varies company to company. When I worked at Sony Online, they actually had they had a royalty program, but it wasn't really royalties. It's profit sharing. Because I think the difference would be that like royalties would probably persist. And like if you work on a TV show or you make a song or something, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But then after that, none of the other companies I worked at offered any real sort of profit share that was notable. Keith says profit sharing seemed to be more common in the 90s, early 2000s. Is that not the case anymore? It should. I think it exists in some places. I don't know how common it is. It doesn't seem like it's very common, to be honest. I've seen some bonus programs, and I've seen like a profit share program that was set up at one company, but the pool that they pulled out for profits was not that great. And then it always comes down to like, yeah, I mean, if they do have a program, how much are they allocating for that pool? So for our team, it's something that feel pretty strongly about. I think profit sharing is very important. How do I make that floor? Is it Unity terrain tool or are they quads? Which one is lighter? I don't know which one is lighter, but the way that I've been doing terrain is basically, yeah, just subdivided plane. So I was a pretty big proponent of profit sharing at every company that I worked at after Sony Online, just because it was such a rad experience when I worked at Sony, because they would cut us a profit share or royalty check every quarter, and man, it was really good. And so I think, that coupled with, especially if it's a considerable pool, that coupled with advice for people that maybe are in the company and have never received that sort of thing before on how to not blow it. Because I spent a lot of that money in very stupid ways, when I'm in my like mid-20s and had never had that kind of money before. I mean, my dad retired as an enlistedman from the Army. Like, we didn't have a lot of cash. And so, that said, it enabled me to get a condo in California and stuff, right? Like, put down the down payment and stuff like that. I didn't have enough to like buy it outright or anything, but can I tell you what I purchased? So I was able to get, like I said, I was able to front the down payment on a condo in California in just like 2004 or 5, which I was able to sell before the market completely imploded. I moved to Austin because even back then I was kind of like always, oh hey, what's up, Isan? No worries. I tend to read a shitload of news, and from strange sources, and so the more I was reading, the more it was looking like the housing market was gonna shit the bed. So that was part of my decision to move to join the DC Universe team in Austin. It was like, let's get out of California and let's sell this condo as quickly as possible. And so timing on that worked out really well. And so that enabled me, selling the condo enabled me to then get the house in Austin, which was also good. Stupid stuff that I spent the money on. It was just like when royalty check time was happening. It's just whatever. Um I remember when I was in we went to a fan fair in New Orleans for Halloween. It was like the Halloween weekend. We were in New Orleans for fan fair, EQ fan fair. And like I didn't have a Halloween outfit, but I wanted to go to Bourbon Street in outfit. And so I bought my girlfriend at the time an outfit. I bought a really dope ass, like, you know, $100 some crazy handmade mask that was kind of like pan or whatever. And then I went and got fitted for a tuxedo at this nice tuxedo shop in New Orleans. Like, walked in off the street, dude fitted me, you know, it took like an hour. Fitted me, had the tuxedo, like, you know, sewn or whatever, so that it fit properly. Like, while we waited and drank beer. And it was like $1,000 tuxedo. It just spurred a moment Halloween outfit. So, I mean, that's a pretty ridiculous purchase. So now I have a tuxedo sitting in storage. Or, I don't know, maybe it's in my attic. I think it's in storage, though. That I've worn like once for Halloween on Bourbon Street. So, that's what I mean, like, dumb stuff like that. It was also really nice to just be able to tip well. Like, every time a royalty check came out, I would go to King's Fish House in San Diego because I love seafood, and get a big ass dinner, and then like I would tip the same whatever the bill was. I would tip that amount. That's not a waste of money. You can use that at your launch meeting. It's true. I can use it in our cult meetings. Yeah, Whitechapel, I was just about to make a joke about that, but I couldn't think of anything that wouldn't sound really sketchy. But yeah, it was cool. I was able to get a new car, you know, again, not paid for. Nothing was paid for. And, you know, I think the main thing was, it was less about, I mean, I did buy some stupid stuff for my ex. I learned way too much about the purses that were way too expensive. But generally speaking, it was just, it was one of the bad things that happened was I never had to think about a budget really, because lifestyle wise, we didn't go out very much, or, you know, despite what maybe it sounds like. But what that wound up doing was creating a situation where I never really did like a line item budget for the household. Like, I never knew how much money we had. Ever. And so it's just one of those things. Oh, the other thing too is, like, every time a new hobby appeared, it was, you know, my friend and I were mountain biking, or wanted to mountain bike. One of my friends from back home works in skateboarding in San Diego. It was like, oh shit, we should get mountain bikes. We're getting too old to skateboard. And he had like knee surgery and stuff, so it was getting a little past his skateboarding years. So it's like, oh, let's mountain bike. So we just go down to the bike store, and it's like, oh, there's a cool, like, specialized mountain bike, you know, Specialized as a brand. How much does that cost? $3,000? Okay, let's get it. You know, it's just like, so it was that kind of thing where it was just ridiculous, right? Like, if I could go back and invest that properly, you know, definitely. But whatever, YOLO. Figured it out. Fortunately, I didn't have any like crazy habits. Let's see. Oh, Insildus, you asked earlier, for a company making tens of millions, who's getting all that money? One or two people at the top? No. It'd be rare that that's the case. Typically, you know, depending on if you got investors or shareholders, right? That's one thing to consider. Usually companies are taking that money and dumping it back into dumping that back into some sort of a growth strategy. So it's, at the time, like Sony had 7 studios, I think. We had a studio in Seattle. We had a studio in Austin that had multiple games going on. Right? I forget how many games were going on. But if you look at it, it's like at the time EQ, EQ2, PlanetSide, Sovereign before it was canceled, EQOA, all of the basically the support staff, right? So you've got marketing and PR and operations and customer service and, whole bunch there for the various games. We had a joint venture in Taiwan. The joint venture that we were doing with Gamania. Then we had a studio in Seattle. We had a studio in Denver. And was Seattle doing more than one game? I don't think so. Oh, and then we had Austin, which is doing Star Wars Galaxies. PlanetSide, did I already say that? I feel like I'm missing something. So that's like, 10, 11 things going on right there. So that's where that money was going. Plus, I could have sworn that Sony had some rights to the EverQuest name. Like Sony, not Sony Online, but like whatever, SCEA or something, I think was getting a certain percentage of all the money that EQ generated. Was DayZ Sony? No, H1Z1 was Sony. And that was after my time. We had pitched a battle royale and a survival game separately years and years before that, but that didn't happen. So the handsome boy, thank you for the follow. Hovo Tenso said, "What should I do to get a job with Unity? What should I learn what? Or should I make tutorials, projects as a portfolio? I do freelance, but I feel I will never be a specialist doing this. I think I need a solid remote job." But what do you do? Do you do game design? Or are you are you an artist? Are you a programmer? Nicodemus asked, "Do you or the team do any tabletop gaming in your spare time, or is it mostly M&M development?" Tabletop gaming, Ham does for sure. I think he's kind of a regular on a tabletop, like podcast on YouTube. I think it's the Pickled Dragon. You'd have to look that up. Look up the Pickled Dragon. Pickled. That should be the one that he's been on. They just had a thing in Bahrain where he's at. The other weekend, a couple weekends ago, where they had like a tabletop convention kind of thing, which is pretty cool. Me, not so much. Pattis said he just started running a D&D campaign for his sons. Oh man, yeah. Definite benefit of having kids. That's really cool. I need to hop back in Genesis mud. Spend some more time playing it. It's not the same, but still, it's worthwhile. You're a Unity programmer. Program shooting simulators at the moment. You have 2 clients. And you're wanting to move from freelance into working for a company? I mean, if you've been working on shooting simulators, you've probably got a portfolio that you can show of sorts. I'd say the more projects that you can pick up, really then at the end of the day, it comes down to like your expectations. Like what type of company are you looking to get into and at what level of experience? And then honestly, without knowing somebody in a company, it's a lot of times it's just a lot of trying and seeing sort of what's resonating. But if you are a Unity programmer, I'm assuming C#, there's a lot of companies out there. The demand for talent in the games industry is not gone down any, as far as I know. In recent years, it just keeps growing and growing. So I think it's more just a matter of poking around. Have you reached out to any companies, or have you been on LinkedIn looking to see kind of what's out there in terms of, excuse me, what companies are looking for? Or? Oh, you use real guns with a laser in the barrel. I think I've seen that system on the internet. You were a freelancer for a hentai company that got broke and scammed you a little. I could not imagine a hentai company being in any way anything less than reputable. Shocking. I mean, I'm not making light of the fact that you got scammed. That's never nice, but why wouldn't they be reputable? I mean, I don't have any real experience with companies of those sorts, so I'm just talking. I'm stereotyping. Maybe that's unfair. It could be that I am unfairly stereotyping the hentai company. I'm not shaming anybody's kink. I'm making fun of the company. How dare you? I just pictured that being the name of the company. The hentai company. Sabby the Druid said, what would you recommend to get experience as a game designer? I would say first off, there's a incredible amount of information out there these days. So the first thing that I would recommend is that the individual, I'm guessing maybe you, spend some time kind of thinking about what type of game designer. Is it somebody that's more systems focused, or sorry, is it a role that would be more systems focused? Is it like what are you picturing? Are you somebody that is more like game balance, sort of traditional game rules and logic, a scenario or mission builder, narrative designer? Is that, Savvy, does that make sense? And then from there, looking at, first of all, the type of information that's available specific to that specialization. If you're just thinking generally and you want to do a little bit of everything, that's a fine starting point as well. Recommendation would be to look at, there's so many great tutorials out for either Unity or Unreal. Another thing to consider too is like what type of games, right? Like what type of games are you passionate about? Because even if you're like, I don't really know what those, how those specializations work, and rather than just immediately try to dig into a bunch of different specializations, I would say if you know what you're passionate about in terms of games and the aspects that you enjoy when you're playing, then that's helpful as well. Once you get to a point where you feel pretty comfortable, it's like, all right, I know the engines. I've got some game design chops. I've got something to contribute, but I really want to work on something that's a bit more substantive, or I want to work with a team. If you can't find a game jam, then I would say looking for folks that are looking for additional help. So if you look at a place like Polycount or somewhere where essentially they've got like a needs help kind of board. There are a lot of great indie games out. There are a lot of communities out there where you can wind up meeting some folks. You can join our Discord, either the M&M Discord or my stream Discord, and yeah, that it's got folks in it who are working on stuff and working on their own projects and things like that. And so, on the stream Discord, promoting your stuff, I don't care. Like, it's great. So there's an opportunity to sort of poke around there. Is M&M team looking for additional help? I'd say we're good for the time being. If we run into somebody that is a pretty experienced animator that just happens to have some time on their hands and likes what we're doing and wants to hook up with us, it's definitely worth a conversation. But that individual would need to be pretty experienced. But we're still keeping things pretty tight for the time being. Hovo Tenso, thank you for the follow. To investigate specific types of game design then? I come from asset artist background, but I've been involved in helping out with mechanics and narrative. Oh, nice. So, if you're an asset artist and then you want to add game design chops on top of that, then that puts you in a nice position for indie games. Because you'll find probably more people on the design side, at least in my sort of anecdotal experience, you'll find more people on the design side looking for artists and programmers than you will necessarily artists and programmers looking for designers. So if you've got some art skills, then that helps. Yeah, and then you can wrangle one of these developer types. Be applying to the niche world's called janitor position when it gets posted. Our virtual janitor. That was my plan when I got in the industry. I was like, I'll do anything. Can you guys use models of characters and or weapons items? For the time being, we're good. I think we're still at a stage where we benefit from not having too many hands in the pot, where we're not managing a bunch of feedback and things like that. So I'll keep the discussion open with the team and see if and when they kind of are like, hey, we really need some assistance on, whatever specific thing. Then, it'll be a different conversation. But I find that, I'm not trying to be disingenuous when I say that as well, because, you never know. Every once in a while, I'll run into somebody or there'll be an opportunity or something. I'll click with someone and then it'll be like, all right, we weren't thinking we needed X, but, this, for whatever reason, this sort of came together in a way where let's do it. And then there's a bit of a feeling out period and then we kind of go from there. But so patient connecting the edges, it just create a script and force them to connect in nearest, even if it took more time to do a script. It's easy for me to sort of click these together while talking to you guys, if it's not too boring for you, but I figured between the music and me answering questions and it seeming like I'm being productive, I don't know, that it seems like an okay thing to do on stream, because I don't have to think very much while I'm doing this. I can just, if it was all one mesh, then I would just circle them and collapse them, but it is not. So I think I'm doing this the right way. We'll see. Go Faster asks, do you aggressively seek that out, like existing games, probably something more indie that have great animations, and try to lure them in, or even a young aspiring talent from a school or something, catch someone on the upswing of their career where cost benefit works both you guys and the animator? I try to always kind of keep an eye out, and then expand my network with different folks in different fields. And then Ollie's also, it's funny, Ollie's always on Twitter and he'll run into interesting people and kind of make a note of it. But so far it's been more of a, we just kind of, oh, well, that's not going to work. We've had some really great luck with regards to meeting people for the team. Connecting the meshes is relaxing, like popping bubble wrap. Yep, exactly. I think MMOs of all games need help in the modeling department because it gets tiresome to see the same models used for completely different tiers of enemy ranks. I.e. level 50 goblin looks the same as level 5 goblin. Well, not the same. What we do is we just make the goblin bigger. And we give him a different name. That's how we do it. There's a lot more to networking of entertainment industries than people think, but they're never going to speak openly about it. I don't know that there's any big secret. It's who you know is a massive part of getting a job. I don't know of any real big secret beyond that. That said, I've never worked at a hentai company. Nicodemus, roundabout, where is that? I forget. Oops. Columbus, Georgia. Okay. It has been forever since I've been through Columbus. Yeah, I've been through Columbus a ton, going up north from Dothan. Columbus, Georgia. Phoenix City is right there, right? Isn't there a Phoenix City there? Like Columbus, Georgia, is it Phoenix City, Alabama? Yep. I've been there a fair bit because I could have sworn it was like Columbus, Georgia, and then Phoenix City, and then Eufaula on the way back to Dothan. Man, this make me want some boiled peanuts. I've got to see if there's some place I can get boiled peanuts in Germany. It's spelled Phoenix? Yeah, no, it is spelled weird. You guys still need to set up a team building retreat or whatever to Canada for a team to meet up in person. Everybody should come out here and we should meet up in a castle in the Black Forest. Step 1, buy peanuts. Well, I thought you had to have like a special kind of peanuts, like green peanuts. Like, so I've actually been investigating growing peanuts in Germany because we've been checking out some local gardens. They have these things, like if you Google German small garden culture, so like a kilometer, like 1.2 kilometers from our apartment, there's this area, it's just in all these little small gardens. And so we went looking at some to see, because supposedly there were a couple available, which is pretty rare. So that's what we did all weekend. I don't feel like I'd be taken seriously as a remote freelancer if I don't live in the US or Europe. I'm from Brazil and there's little to no market here. I think it would just come down to your skill set. I've worked with people from all over the place, but yeah, you may have a point. I don't know. They may. They may try to be weird with pay or something because you're in Brazil. How did I end up in Germany? Oh, I moved here from Sweden. And before that I was in Germany, and before that I was in Austin, Texas. And yeah, I've worked with, it's funny, one of the guys I worked with so I worked with a handful of Brazilian programmers in Hamburg. Our company had like 4 or 5 programmers from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not gonna list his full name so that I'm not doxing him or anything. But one of the programmers' name was Fabrizio, but his last name was super German. And so I was like, and it was super cool. He's from Brazil, but he had a German last name. Aramis? I don't know Aramis. I was wondering if it was which name you're gonna say. It'd be funny if we had worked together. Aramis's surname sounds German. Well, I mean, there were a lot of Germans that did make their way to South America, and I wonder how many Brazilian or other programmers I've met in Germany that can trace their lineage back to Operation Paperclip. All right, guys. So it is 10:49. Tonight has been a nice and relaxing night. You've got to watch me be semi-productive again. Apologies. Let's see. Nicodemus said you can remote game, but I have the opinion something is just better when you're face to face for tabletop is a little bit better. If I had the time, I'd definitely be down. And still just give it a few more streams and see if you maintain that opinion. Yeah, Keith, if I'd actually done the technique I had mentioned earlier, I could have welded them, but it would have just created some new seams somewhere else. So, unfortunately, Ham has got some real life stuff going on right now, so he's going to be occupied for a little bit. Otherwise, I'd get him in here and look at sort of scale and placement on some of these POIs. But what I'm going to do tomorrow probably is I'm going to get in. I've got a map that he's sketched out that will allow me to come in and start placing some of these points of interest. And then I'm going to get with Nick and we're going to talk a little bit about layout, population, level distribution for the various zones so far. And we'll see if this is working or not working or what. And then we'll go from there. So Thursday when I stream again, hopefully you'll see more of this zone. And then, I mean, really, hopefully, this zone will be pretty good to go, and we'll either be in a new zone that's in the middle here, it's a hilly zone, or we'll be rebuilding Death Valley, or we'll be adding more based on the map, now that I've got it, more to Sungreet Strand right outside of Night Harbor. So we'll see. What level should the POC be able to level up to? Good question, Snickerdoodle. So I'm thinking that we'll probably have content up to max level. And then your next question is, what's max level? And I will say that we have, I think we've stated in the past, 43, Ryan said. So we'll go with that. The team has been overridden by Ryan. Nicodemus German beer is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's plentiful. Oh, and to the earlier point about growing peanuts in Germany, I researched it in the US. There are more places growing peanuts than you would imagine. They grow peanuts up in Ohio. They grow peanuts, you know, down in Alabama, peanut capital of the world, Dothan, Alabama. And the Texas, I think, is the second biggest peanut growing state in the U.S. But that makes sense. Pretty sandy. So peanuts were one of the most lucrative crops in America. Oh, I don't know. Franklin did peanuts? I don't know if Franklin did peanuts. I could have sworn that George Washington Carver. I don't know if, I mean, he's kind of known for, wasn't it George Washington Carver? Let me look him up. Peanut products, George Washington Carver. Now, Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer. But yeah, Tuesday EQ knows what's up. George Washington Carver was the guy who found like 300 uses for them. So, yeah, I would love some boiled peanuts right now. When I was in basic training, I was friends with a couple of guys from like, one was from LA and one was from San Diego. I think it was Privates Garcia and Perez, maybe? And I told him about Dothan, Alabama being the peanut capital of the world. We even have like a golden peanut in statue in Dothan. And so they always called me Private Peanut, and they had really strong accents. They'd always be like, "Hey, what's up, Private Peanut?" So, I love those guys. I wonder whatever happened to them. And that was the first time when we graduated from basic training, and I think it was Perez put on a Smith's t-shirt. That was the No, I think we discussed it before then because we were talking about music, and he said he was really into the Smiths. I had no idea, being a kid that spent his teenage years in Alabama. I had not met that many kids from of, I would say, like Mexican descent. And so I had no idea like how much they vibed on the Smiths where he was from. Pretty badass. Bup. As a Bull Peanuts, as a southerner, the southern friend you can never get into. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? Droops to Spatten's Optimator. I know the beer. I can picture the bottle. So it's a little bit dark for me. I like anything that is as light as possible with a high alcohol content. And I like that most beers come in a half-liter bottle here. Okay, so I need to wrap up this stream. I've gotten so sidetracked. See you, Pavo. You know who else loves the Smith? Dave Brevick. Nice. They have that in common. Yeah, next stream will be Thursday. If you have not, if you don't know what the hell we're doing here, please check out the website. Check the FAQ. Join our Discord. According to Harrison, there's like 850 people on it, which is amazing. But he also may be lying. Per your question earlier, Nick answered it. We're going up to level 60. Whether or not we have that in proof of concept, we'll have to see. Join the mailing list. We're at 1,300. Let's get to 1,500. You can watch VODs on YouTube. Be sure to follow the other streamers. And if you miss them, they're on the YouTube as well. They're VODs. Be sure to check it out. Wonderful stuff. 25 Clock. Thank you for the follow. The interesting name. Cool. Yeah. Next stream will be on Thursday. Everybody have a great night. I'm going to bed now. Even though Jasmine has the day off tomorrow. Need to get up early, get some work done before we go look at bicycles. I need a new bicycle. I'm getting a cargo bike, hopefully. A cargo bike. I'll tell you all about it later. I'll tell you about it on Thursday. Good night, Nick. Night, Zukin. Night, Harrison. Sajaku. Good night to you. Don't worry about being late. Be on time on Thursday, though. 3 hours earlier than right now in your time zone. Tuesday, EQ, good night. Nicodemus, night. Thank you again. Calidor, good night. Don't spend $3 on it. $3,000, you mean? Actually, it's Jasmine's going to front it. So, but we don't have a car, so that's why we need a cargo bike. Sorry for making fun of your pro builder skills. I know you were. I know that you were setting up a kind comment. If that was you in Discord, though it did make me a little sad. Sabby, good night. Good to meet you. Spell faster. I'll see if the tuxedo's here. I think it's in Austin, but we'll be going to Austin in. Excuse me. Like July, I think we'll be there. I'll have to see. I might have to take an empty bag and see if I can throw some EverQuest crap in my bag and bring it back with me. Enceladus, good night. All right. If that's it for the good nights, I'm going to wrap up and get out of here. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day and Wednesday. And then I'll see you on Thursday. Look into Red Ash Italian. Supposed to be great in Austin. Belfaster, we'll have to talk more about restaurants before the time comes. We got plenty of time before then. All right. See you guys. Thank you again.